The 45-degree back extension is actually a movement that, funnily enough, comes more from the hips than it does from the back, or especially from the lower back. What we actually want to do in this exercise is hold a tight neutral spine. So we do that by, at the top, starting with our arms across the chest there, bracing the core as hard as we can, and then to actually get down and move through this exercise, we hinge at the hips. So think sticking the butt up towards the sky and letting that chest fall, keeping that core tension on. There's no actual reaching or scrunching up. You can see here what I've done is put the hand on the back, and you can do that to make sure that you feel the lower back remaining in position. There shouldn't actually be any bending at that lower back. It's actually all remaining neutral and simply being moved and acted on by the hips. Now that's a really important distinction to make between actually bending the spine. Now to load this one, my favorite way of loading it is simply holding a plate across the chest. That keeps that resistance nice and close to the body and allows you to safely load the exercise without changing the structures or the movement pattern of the actual movement. You can just continue maintaining that excellent movement quality through the lumbar spine staying still, hips doing the movement instead, loading up the hamstrings, loading up the glutes, and keeping the core musculature nice and tight, nice and controlled the entire way through. Going over again the key points of the 45-degree back extension, it is a hip hinge movement, which means that we're keeping a neutral lumbar spine, so bracing the core and moving from the hips. So think stick the butt up and out the back, and then when we get to the bottom of that, we're going to squeeze the glutes and pull ourselves up using the hips. It is not actually a back movement, despite the name's implication. It is about hamstrings and glutes. So hinging from the hip, keeping that back nice and flat. Use a hand if you need an extra guide. That is the 45-degree back extension.